All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to be in a big case of I told you so, I told you so, I told you so. They was out there trying to fix up Terence Crawford's fight against Canelo Álvarez and give Canelo Álvarez that win. That is what I said Turki Al-Sheikh was going to try to do. And people out of the UFC, and now that I have watched that fight, I know for sure they was out there trying to scheme and scam on Terence Crawford for a specific reason that has now fallen apart. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and I love a good case of I told you so. Terence Crawford fought Canelo Álvarez a week and a day ago in Las Vegas and won the fight on scorecards that read 116-112, 115-113, and 115-113. Well, there is a UFC fighter that is coming out and saying that that fight was supposed to be fixed for Canelo Álvarez, that they were trying to give the fight to Canelo Álvarez, but they could not find a way to get it done. But other than that, Terence Crawford was on the line to get robbed. Now, before I get into the details, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit the subscribe button and hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. And if you're a longtime subscriber and supporter of the channel, thank you guys so much for what you do for the channel. It really makes a huge difference, especially the people that support in the super thanks of videos like this. My guy, Big Mike, shout out to my guy, Mattiola. I hadn't seen you in a while, but I never forgot that you did it. Thank you so much for y'all for supporting. But let's get into this because I think that is an important discussion. As so many people were talking about Turki Al-Sheikh being the savior of boxing and how he was making these great fights and how he was coming to the United States to save the sport. When in actuality, and I had been telling you that he was not coming to America with that. For that, he is coming to take boxing to Saudi Arabia. He is not trying to help boxing in America. He is trying to help boxing in Saudi Arabia. And in order to help boxing in Saudi Arabia, he has to do damage to American boxing because American boxing is the mecca of boxing right now, and he wants to change where the mecca is. So when he backed Canelo Álvarez and Terence Crawford, I did a video and I said, we know what this is going to be. This is going to be them trying to get this fight over for Canelo Álvarez. And then after that, Turki Al-Sheikh wants to take Canelo Álvarez to Saudi Arabia so he can fight Hamad Shiraz. And Hamad Shiraz can be the one to beat Canelo Álvarez and become the undisputed champion. And that was the end game that Turki Al-Sheikh had. So let's now talk about the fight that was necessary for Canelo to win in order for Turki's plans to come off. Terence Crawford had to lose to Canelo Álvarez. In the fight itself, as I have witnessed and many people have witnessed, that was not a close fight. That was a fight in which Terence Crawford won and won convincingly. The fight was probably close up until around round 4 or 5, at which point in time, Terence Crawford pulled out and pulled away and dominated that fight. Many experts, including myself, say that Terence Crawford won all but maybe 2 rounds. And there are some people that said that they didn't think Canelo won any rounds convincingly. But they gave rounds to Canelo Álvarez that they thought that the judges were going to give Canelo Álvarez. Yet and still, the scorecards come out, what? 115-113, 115-113, 116-112. Now, if you're not familiar with Vegas and how these scorecards often come out, it is not unusual at all for you to see one judge, and this happens many fights, that looks for the fight. It appears to look for the fight for one guy. That's the 116-112 for Terence Crawford. Then the other referee is looking for everything possible to give to Canelo. That's your 115-113. The other 115-113 tells you that there was two judges that were really trying to give as much as they could to Terence Crawford. To Canelo Álvarez. And it was only the fact that Canelo Álvarez tanked out in the last 3 rounds and that Terence Crawford won the 10th, the 11th, and the 12th. And in fact, if you looked at the scorecards, Terence Crawford needed both the 11th and the 12th to pull out the win. Now, I had done a video before, and I'm telling you, there are a lot of people in the boxing establishment that do not like Turki Al-Sheikh. They see the play coming. I believe that if it was not for other outside factors pushing that 116-112 and making sure that those championship rounds went the right way, that's the only reason that Turki Al-Sheikh was not able to pull that off. And you could tell with the way that Turki Al-Sheikh was looking through the entire fight. Hands on his head, looking nervous, not screaming up, and none of that. Why? Because the big money was with Canelo. He was trying to pull off a quick heist. Terence Crawford was the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world. And one that beat Errol Spence Jr. He had electricity coming off of his name, but he's at 147. Turki Al-Sheikh got him to move all the way up from 147 to 168, thinking that that was going to be able to let Terence Crawford be fed to Canelo Álvarez. That was the goal. That was the plan. And the plan went south because Terence Crawford was too good of a fighter. Watch what happens moving forward with Terence Crawford and Turki Al-Sheikh, Terence Crawford and Canelo. They're going to have to go to another rematch. They're going to have to do a rematch. If they do a rematch, that allows Turki Al-Sheikh to maybe put his thumb even more heavily on the scale. I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to do a rematch and tried to force Terence Crawford to come over to Saudi Arabia to do the rematch with Canelo Álvarez for big amounts of money so that Turki Al-Sheikh could have even more influence on the top of Terence Crawford to try to make that thing go the other way. I don't believe for the life of me that Turki Al-Sheikh has anything but ill will for American boxing and specifically Black American fighters. Look at what they've done with the best Black American fighters that Turki Al-Sheikh has dealt with. The best ones they put on undercards. They put Devin Haney on an undercard to Ryan Garcia and Rolly Romero. They put Teofimo Lopez on, they put Shakur Stevenson on an undercard to Hamad Shiraz and Edgar Berlanga. So you're telling me if you're going to take Shakur Stevenson and put him on an undercard to Hamad Shiraz and feed Hamad Shiraz Berlanga in New York, that you weren't trying to basically do the same with Terence Crawford, Canelo Álvarez, and get him to Hamad Shiraz? Remember, they need, and in order for what Turki Al-Sheikh is doing to take hold in Saudi Arabia and to take hold in the Middle East, they need Saudi Arabia or Middle Eastern fighters with championship names. And that's why he's been holding hands with Hamad Shiraz. And I'm telling you that at the end of the day, that was their end game. Their end game was to get Canelo Álvarez in with Hamad Shiraz. Once Hamad Shiraz beat Canelo Álvarez, and I don't care if Canelo won the fight or not, Hamad was going to get that decision. Then they're going to go with Hamad Shiraz, and they're going to use that to try to base and move what is really belongs in America to Saudi Arabia. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. Please let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.